Sunday League Extra, Leela Pavlo, the mighty Kitchener manager. How you doing, mate?
Not too bad, mate. You?
Yeah, good. Thank you, mate. Very good. First of all, thanks for coming on, mate. I appreciate it.
No worries whatsoever.
We'll go right back to the beginning to start off with, mate. Talk to me about how you became involved in the Kitchener project.
When I was about 23, I joined the Kitchener as a player. The manager was a man called Steve Wardley. He ran the pub. He was one of my good mates' dad. And the reason I joined the Kitchener was because years before that, my dad played for the Kitchener for about 10 years. So I was used to go down the pub a lot. We used to hang about the area a lot. I'm not actually from that side of town, but a lot of my family, a lot of my friends, they all live down that side of the town. So when it came to play Sunday football, it was sort of the right thing to do to join the Kitch. And there was a lot of boys over there that I already knew anyway, which made sense to me. And some of the boys that were there at the time I played are still playing now, like players like Anton, Ryan, Gov. There's a few of the lads there, Ivan, Hender. They've been playing for the club for like 10 years. So it's sort of a family club.
Yeah, you've got one thing I do notice about your team at the moment, the group of boys that you got there, you've got like that mix what a lot of teams don't have. You've got like that spine of experience there. And you've got like the Jacobs, you've got like the Bretts, and you've just got a few others sprinkled in there, the younger players sprinkled around. Was that like a thing that you were very aware of? Like a few players were getting a bit older and you needed to maybe get some younger legs in?
100%. What it is I've got a batch of about 6 or 7 players that are hitting that 34, 35 mark. Yeah. And in my head, I thought if I don't start bringing some youth into the team, in 2 or 3 years, I'm going to come to a point where, you know, they're getting a bit leggy, a bit older.
You're going to sort of have to rip it all up, ain't you, and just start from scratch.
And then start again with, and then build a team from scratch. Whereas if I start easing players in now, to bond with them, mix with them, they'll start learning the Kitchener way of playing football. And by the time my older boys are up, they'll be ready to slot in and take their spot. So that was my idea behind that sort of thing. That's why I wanted to get some young boys. I mean, Charlie's 16. Jacob's 20, Brett's 16, you know, so that's an injection of youth straight into the team.
That's scary they're that good at 16, isn't it, as well?
I know. Charlie is different gravy, honestly. I wouldn't be surprised if in 3 or 4 years he makes it as a pro. His technique and quality on the ball is different level.
Very good player.
He played we had a cup game Wednesday night. He came on 20 minutes from the end. I mean, he's 16 years old. It's the first season he's played men's football, and he didn't look out of place whatsoever. He could swing with the big boys, Jack, Teva, all them boys. You know? I'm hoping in a couple of years' time, like that he's settled down properly with the club, and he's going to be a main star at 18.
Yeah, he's one that stood out for me the few times I've seen him. To be honest, as you said, his ability on the ball is just
quality.
Ridiculous.
We call him Young Phil for Phil Foden. Like,
that's it. Yeah, Young Phil in the commentary. I love that.
He's on the ball the way he turns, away he spins. But all the boys are good. I mean, Jacob, he's different gravy as well on the left-hand side. He's
only 20 as well, isn't he?
20 years old. He's actually breaking into our first team. He's starting a lot of these big games what we've had the last couple of weeks. He's been playing and starting because I can't afford to leave him out at the minute.
I thought he was very impressive in the Borussia Marshallsham game, the semi-final.
Yeah.
And that's like a big rivalry for you. Obviously, apart from Burgold, it's the other big rivalry, isn't it?
It is,
And he was just... He just took the game by the scruff of the neck, didn't he, as well? For someone that young as well. He wasn't phased at all, was he?
Well, we played again. We played them again Sunday just gone in the League Cup final.
You beat him, didn't you?
We did.
This will go out after the video, so there'll be no spoilers, don't worry.
I think most of our supporters know anyway. We had quite a few people down there, but it was a good game. But Jacob again stood out in that game again. He was quality. And we've got a county cup final Sunday.
It's the big one, isn't it?
Put my money in them to be good again. Yeah, it's against Burgold as well.
Oh, it's the big one, and Burgold as well in the final.
It's like our version. It's like county cup. Yeah, it's going to be like it's like our version of the London Cup. I think you guys in London have called it. Don't it? It's like your FA registered cup, and ours is the
That's exactly what I was just going to say, mate.
In itself. So
yeah,
hopefully the best team wins on Sunday.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what I was going to say. It's sort of like the London Cup, isn't it? It's exactly the same as the London Cup, really.
It is, yeah. It's a Suffolk registered cup. It's like the whole of our county. We don't just play teams in Ipswich for that. We play teams all around the area.
Yeah, it's a big one.
Bury. Yeah, sometimes you have to travel a bit for that cup, but
it's the one you've wanted as well, isn't it, for a while?
Oh yeah, I won it in my first season, and since then we haven't won it, and we've come close a couple of times. And to be honest, the last couple of times we got knocked out of it, I thought we got knocked out by lesser teams. You know, I felt like we lost on penalties, and if you watch the games back on some of them, we had 20, 30 shots in some of them. We just couldn't put the ball in there.
It's frustrating, isn't it, when you're losing to teams that you know you're better than as well.
Yeah, and especially with a team what we got, it can get frustrating. I mean, we do tend to bicker in the changing room if we lose games like that a lot, but that's because we pride ourselves on such a high standard. You know, like we know we're better than that, but football's football, and you know, the best team doesn't always win. No.
You're exactly right. You've got to get the job done on the day, ain't you? That's the main thing.
Exactly. Yeah.
Speaking about the Bergholts, the Borussia Martleshams, obviously it's nice when you're beating teams 7 and 8-0. It's great. It's nice. It's a nice confidence booster. You value those two teams, don't you, for the rivalry, because they bring the best out of your boys, don't they?
Oh, 100%. If there's any two games we get up for a season, to be honest, the boys never let me down. Every week they're
normally
time.
Always good, even if it's bottom of the league, isn't they? They're normally switched on, isn't they? I've noticed that.
The reason that being, I think, is because I've got like a 25-man squad. So if you're not having a good game, or
you've got someone waiting, isn't you?
Yeah, there's someone waiting to take your place every week, and that's not like now and again. That's every single week. I mean, I done a training session Wednesday coming up for the cup final. I had nearly 30 players there. That was basically 14 aside, 15 aside. You know what I mean? Like
they want to be involved in that, don't they?
Into a 16-man squad, so that's not a bad problem to have. But you can't afford to slack in our team. If you do, then you're on the bench, maybe possibly not even in the team.
No. That's nice to have that strength in depth. It's a headache for you in one sense, but on the other sense, it's a good headache to have, isn't it?
It's a very good headache to have because it gives you options. Like I've had, like this week in the cup semi-final, what we had Sunday, Josh Folks broke his arm, and I had Ollie, my left back, on Monday at work broke his arm. So in the space of 3 days, I've had two of my starting defence with 2 broken arms. So it's lucky I've got the players to bring in now to replace him. You know,
you've
and
got
that's not like
the
standard's going to drop. The standard we keep high on every player we sign, so anyone I bring in is going to do a job, which which is a lucky thing we have.
That's no. It's a good problem to have, innit? As you said, it's a good problem to have.
Yeah, 100%.
One other thing that sticks out for me when I watch your games is you've got so many players that can play in more than one position. I've never seen another team like it. One player I'll specifically mention is Lloyd.
Best right back in Sunday League. They've said it.
Do you know what?
We know it.
Yeah?
We know it.
A lot. Sometimes they put out wild shouts, but I think that's a very good shout. I'll be honest.
Because you stick him right back, I think he's one of the best right backs I've seen in Sunday League football. He's one of the best.
Honestly, Lloyd is quality all over the pitch. You stick
him up front and he scores.
He don't just score; he scores hat tricks. Up front, you know? And he don't look out of place. He looks like a natural striker when he plays up front.
He does. His movement's good, isn't it?
His movement across the back line. Not only that, his pace and his footwork. It's hard to get the ball off him. So whenever I play Lloyd up front, I just air in the games where I want to play high pace, get the ball forward and get Lloyd on it. So we normally play the long ball over the back, Lloyd ran onto it, and you can't stop him, honestly.
Yeah, he is Mr. Consistent.
Important games, he's a right back. His natural position is a right back.
He's very solid at right back, isn't he?
One
thing I've noticed as well, when he plays against, like, because Borussia Martlesham have got that left winger, isn't they? He's their number 10, who's their good player.
Number 10,
But I've noticed he does it, even though Lloyd in his head, you can see he's a naturally attacking right back. He don't shirk the defensive side of it either, does he? Like he keeps him fairly quiet for what a good player that number 10 is, to be honest.
That number 10 is a very, very good player. His name's Marcus. Over the last 2 or 3 years, if you watch the game coming up this week, the goal he scores the 40-yard top winner. Honestly, it's one of the best goals in the season.
He's a good player. He does always stick out when you play him. Always sticks out to me.
we always go back and forth with him in the game, but after the game, we always shake his hand and say, you know, good player. There's a good battle all the time with him and Lloyd, or whoever I played. If I play Josh here, it's always a hard battle. He don't ever give us an easy game.
He's their main man, isn't he? He's definitely their main man.
Yeah. And they play everything through him. Yeah. Sometimes just him alone has beat us. We lost the semi-final to him 2 years ago because of him. He just had such a good game. He scored 2 goals. And we couldn't stop him. Like, literally,
he just had one of
and
those
they've got a new
days.
boy now, at number 7. He's a similar sort of player to him. He plays on the other wing, who's just as good. So
they're a good side, aren't they? And speaking of them as well, you played them in a friendly, obviously, to get everyone's touch sort of back in and get a little bit of fitness. And I don't think there's another team that I watch on YouTube who would have been hurt by losing a friendly as much as you lot were. It just bugged the life out of you, didn't it? Really?
It did. We sat in the car park for an hour after talking about it. Like,
it really just stuck out to me. It really stuck out.
I had to say to Les, look, just forget it. It's a friendly. And not only that, I had a big, massive squad, so I split my best 11 over 2 teams.
You proper chopped it round, didn't you? You really changed it.
I wanted to see who plays well with each other, what we can do in different positions. But what annoyed me a little bit was they took it as a proper serious game, and like they didn't even make no subs really. I think they made 2 subs.
They just wanted to say we beat Kitchen. That's what it was.
Beat us, you know? And then like they were cheering and everything. And in my head, I thought, well, this is a friendly, you know. But I knew we had them in 2 weeks.
Wait till we get you back, and you knew you'd get them back.
Yeah. That's exactly my thought process. I thought we've got you in 2 weeks. So when I play my best 11, you know, let's keep that same energy.
And when they're doing stuff like that as well, it saves you even really having to do a team talk.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, exactly that. Yeah, that's the thing as well. And with the Borussia boys, like, it's a game that we always get up for, whether it's a friendly, whether it's not. So to lose a game against one of your rivals, regardless of the situation, whether it's
it hurts, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's not nice, is it? It's not.
It's
bragging rights for a couple until you play next time. Like normally they jump on Twitter. We get a lot of stick on Twitter and stuff like that. And that. So if we do lose a game, we hear it for the next week until we play again. So we tend not to try and we try and get as many wins as we possible, just for the fact that. We're really bad at taking stick off other people. We're good at giving it, but we're bad at taking it.
Love that. I think that's the best way to be honest. You're hungry.
Yeah.
One player I do want to mention, and I'm going to put it out there, and I hope it don't upset any of the boys if they watch this. My favourite player for you lot's Baker.
I knew you were going to say Jack. I'll
tell you what I like about him. You can, like the last few weeks, I've noticed you've stuck him in the middle, and he's like, and he's kind of like sat deep, but he's still steaming into tackles, still involved going forward, starting all the moves. You play him up front, he scores up front. You play him in the 10, he dictates the game in the 10.
Well, he played up front Saturday in the semi-final, or in the final for the League Cup.
Did he?
Played up front. Yeah, and I won't say much. You'll see the game.
Yeah, spoil it for me.
He's different game. The thing is with Jack, he can play in the number 4 role. You can put him in the hole, in between the strikers and defence, the number 10 role, and you can play him up front as well. So he does all them 3 roles at a top level. And it's not like he just does it for us. He's been at top clubs like Coggleshall, Whitton, like local area around us. They're really top club, and he gets paid good money to play on a Saturday. So he's no joke, Jack, man. I'd put him in any. I've watched a lot of the YouTube games. I follow a few of the other teams, and there's not a player I'd take over him, to be honest.
Oh, I've said repeatedly, I'd at least, even if I don't put him in the let's just say starting 11 for all the YouTube teams. If you don't make it inside, he's definitely heavily in the discussions for me. Anyway, he's definitely bang at the front. Yeah, he's class.
Because of the thing is, he's such a dog. He'll tackle, he'll header, he never bottles a tackle.
Oh, he'll do the nasty stuff, won't he? As well as like the pretty passes and the 30-yard screamers or whatever.
But he can also open his legs up and take on 6 or 7 people in one hit as well.
He just glides past people like they're not even there when he gets going, doesn't he?
And it's not like he's not like a Cristiano Ronaldo what looks flash doing it. Everything he does is simple. But
it's not overcomplicated. You can see he's trying in his head. He's trying to make it as easy for himself and for his teammates as he can.
And I'll tell you what, he's got a hell of a strike on him as well. If you get him around the 18-yard box, he can hit him.
I've seen him hit a few on your videos. Yeah, he's got a hammer of a shot on him.
For us. Yeah, 100%. Jack's definitely like one of our. I think Jack's 26 now, but he started with us when he was like 23, but he's now taking the role of a senior player. Now we've got the young boys coming up. He's really grasping that centre midfield role where he's a big talker in the team now. A lot of players look up to him to
showing the young players what's needed to play for Kitchener, isn't it? It's that example you want.
Exactly that, and he emphasises that to the fullest. That's like I say, him and Tev, they work so well off each other because
Tev's
more of a technical player, classy on the ball. He like to take people on, shoot from 40, 50 yards out. So them two going together, bouncing off each other,
it just works, doesn't it?
And like when we played because we played a couple of YouTube games a few years back and whatever, and we didn't know how we were going to fare up against some of them. But those two boys, even them games, I think they were top class. They matched every team we played, like for quality, for pace, for hard work, for tackling, for everything. So I think they would get in a lot of them other YouTube teams. I think they would.
Yeah, I think they definitely would. I think they 100%. They're definitely involved in the conversations, as I said, at least.
Also, we got Ivan in the centre midfield. I just want to give
Ivan,
Ivan. He doesn't get a lot of credit as much as Jack and Tev sometimes, but he does a lot of the dog work, what goes unnoticed.
Exactly what I was going to say. He's very unassuming on the pitch, isn't he? He's very effective, but he won't be the one that sticks out in the footage, but he'll do all the other bits and pieces.
Yeah. But if you used to watch a 90-minute game on the sideline, he stands out every game.
That's when you appreciate him, is when you're seeing him every week, 90 minutes.
They don't always look good in the highlights on a YouTube video, that sort of dog work.
Exactly, mate. No, I completely agree with you there. One thing I wanted to ask you, how difficult has it been? Because obviously a lot of the Sunday League teams, their leagues restarted, or at least restarted in some form, I know, speaking of Beatties as an example, I know their league, when the top 6 or 8, they went into like another cup competition and done something like that. Whereas yours just kind of said no, but you can still do the 2 cup competitions.
I think what it was I got an email like a month ago, and it come down to a vote for all the teams in the league who wanted to play and who didn't. So they did leave it up to the teams. We voted to carry on with the league, but I think essentially more teams voted not to than to, so they cancelled the league because of that reason. But I think if everyone would have voted yes, then the league would have continued. So I don't really know the ins and outs of it, but
how hard was that? How hard was that for you and the boys, knowing that you weren't going to get a league, but you still had 2 massive cup competitions that you needed to get them up for? Was it difficult doing that, or not so much?
It was a little bit, because we was on a good league run before all the COVID stuff happened and whatnot. So we was in good spirits to win the league again this year, even though we were 6 points behind Marsham. But we had 2 games in hand on them.
You had your games in hand, didn't you? Absolutely.
Yeah. And I still fancied us in the clashes against them to beat them as well. So I felt like we would have won the league. But we were saying that you never know, do you? But it was because we went from not having league games straight into like quarterfinals, semi-finals. So we didn't have that, I don't know, we felt rusty, is the word of it, which was a bit worrying for me. Going straight into quarterfinals and semi-finals without having many friendlies. We didn't play for 6 months, no league games. That was the hardest thing about not having the league continue. Whereas if the league would have continued, we would have had 4 or 5 games going into those cup games. But the one good thing about the boys, they always up for a training session. So as soon as we were allowed, I started putting on training sessions on a Wednesday. So just to get a bit of fitness back. And after 2 or 3 weeks, you could notice a difference in the lads, the fitness and whatnot.
Sharpness started to come back after a couple of training sessions.
On the ball, I mean, that Martlesham game we had a couple of training sessions before that, and I noticed just from looking at the quality of the players, like a lot of them looked unfit, they didn't look sharp. Some of the boys' touches weren't good, but within the space of 2 or 3 training sessions after that, they all looked so much sharper.
You could see it back. That's good. That's
good.
Yeah. And you needed it for those 2 big games. Well, it's already proven. You've got past one of them already, haven't you?
Yeah.
One thing I did want to ask you that kind of, because it's kind of been so public for this year's competition, I don't know why, perhaps it's because it's taken so long for it to finish, is the National Cup. Because they've just finished last season's one. I know obviously now they're not doing it for this season, obviously, it's because it's going to be finished soon. But it looks like they're all set to go for next year. Is it a discussion that you still need to have with the boys, or are you in your head, are you thinking it's something I really want to do, or are you still not 100%?
We have discussed it numerous times, like, and a lot of the boys are up for it. To be fair, most of the boys are up for it. The only problem what we've got is a lot of them do play good quality level football on a Saturday, where a few of the boys like Antoine, Tev, Baker, they get paid good money, so it's hard to organise.
Travelling, isn't you, and stuff. It's far.
I mean, if we get drawn against a team from Liverpool and we've got to travel down to Liverpool or somewhere at the other end of the country, it's going to be a lot of headache. Them having to travel, because a lot of them travel as it is on a Saturday, then they do it on a Sunday, and I've got to organise the whole team around their Saturday
asking
game.
A lot for the boys, isn't it? Especially the Saturday boys, especially. And
then you've got work on a Monday as well, like some of them. That's the only hard thing about it. And because we're so out of the way in Ipswich, if I could guarantee a couple of home games and a couple of games in London, I would do it. But it's just too much.
My understanding, I found out a little bit the other day actually, that the first few rounds are all regional. I don't know whether that makes a difference for you. I think the first few rounds are regional, so you only pay people in your area. I don't know what round that goes past. I'm not sure how far that goes, but I think it's the first couple of rounds as far as I know.
I spoke to a couple of boys that helped me. Jerome is like the assistant who helps me out a lot and whatnot. And we're going to look into it at the end of the season. We're going to get this season out of the way first, and we are going to look into details of it. And if that is a case of, the first few games are regional, more closer, then that is definitely something we'd be up for. Because Borussia Martelsheim, who we play in our league, they actually joined it a couple of years ago and done quite well in it, I think. I think they got to a semi in it.
I tell you what, that takes some doing getting to the last four in that competition as well.
And the team, the first league I joined, the first year I joined Kitch, we played a team called Gym United. I don't know if you've ever heard of them.
They won it, didn't they? Well, they lost in the final. I'm sure I've seen them. They lost
in the final,
I knew I'd seen their name somewhere.
Yeah. They lost in the final that year. The same year we beat them in the County Cup final. So we kind of thought, we said, well, we didn't really need to join it. We just beat them.
You could,
yeah.
I think it's a good yardstick for you, isn't it? It's to see, you've beaten these teams and they've done quite well in that competition. No, I'd love to see. Well, I think you'd be good in it, to be honest. I think it'd be good to see you in it.
Yeah, it definitely will happen. Before our time's up, that will happen 100%. It's just a case of when it's right for the players and everything, and like getting everyone together and making it happen. But within the space of the next 2 or 3 years, it will definitely happen.
That'll be good to see. I remember I spoke to someone from SE Dons a few weeks ago, and they're signing up for next year. They were asking about the paperwork. So it's the first year they've ever gone in it. So that's going to be interesting to see how they get on in it.
See how they get on in it as well.
I think it brings a lot of publicity to the competition if they're in it as well. So it's only good. Yeah.
Well, when it comes to UT teams, they're the creme de la creme in my eyes. Anyway.
They're certainly up there in the conversation.
There'll probably be a lot of teams that will want to join that now that they're in it.
Now they said, because they actually tweeted the Sunday Twitter account as well and said, where do I get the forms from? And it was literally just retweet likes. Everyone was on it straight away.
Imagine we got draw them in it out. That'd be good.
It'd be brilliant. It'd be really good. There'd certainly be a few people there watching that one, mate.
Whether it's a league game, whether it's a cup game, we like to be the first team out there with the cones warming up early, because that's a mental thing, I think. If a team turns up 20 minutes late and we're already out there warming up, in their head,
that's such an interesting point you bring up, and that's one thing that I would have completely forgot to mention to you that I've noticed in your videos. You guys normally start so fast in your games. You're like 1-2-0 up after 10 minutes, and I'm like,
we call it the pitch press. We base our whole team around it. Like we press in 2s and 3s. We use the pace of the wingers and the right backs, and the first thing we're looking to do is get forward. That's why if you notice in a lot of our games, our players will start arguing sometimes if we're 20 minutes into a game and we ain't scored, because we're not used to not scoring early on, or we're not used to being in a game where we can't score. So the players will start getting frustrated. If we score a goal early on, that's normally big trouble for the team, because we settle down. It's
going to be a long 90 minutes, isn't it?
And we're all out attacking.
How many seasons have you been at Kitchener now as manager?
4 seasons, my 4th.
To the best of my knowledge, you've won something every year, haven't you?
Yeah. We have literally won something every year. We've done at least a double every year.
What's the motivation for you at this point, where you're 4 seasons in? Yeah. You've won everything at least once. Everything you've entered, you've won at least once.
Yeah.
What's the motivation? Is it just to continue to just keep going up I want to see what it feels like to win the Suffolk County Cup twice. I want to see what it feels like to win the league 5 times or 6 times or 7 times. Is that what it is? Is it just continuous?
It's a bit of that. It's always nice to get trophies. You can't not getting trophies. I mean, we love it. We love cup final days, semi-final days, picking up the league trophy. So that's always a buzz. And if you win something, you want to retain it the season after. But it's not just that. We're a family club. Like, we get a lot of the old boys what used to play for the Kitch when 30 years ago, they come to the game every week without fail. Wayne, snow, wind.
So them all on the line, actually. Yeah, they're always there, aren't they? Yeah.
Sometimes, you know, like on our cup game against Burgott on Wednesday, I reckon there was 400 people there, you know? And like, you talking about 3 or 4 different generations of Kitchener players that turn up and watch you every week. Yeah. And that in itself, the fact that they can come out of their house every week to watch us, that motivates me to turn up every week and want to play. And, you know,
so it's like a pride thing for you, isn't it? It's to continuously, like, it's sort of a bit of everything. It's the trophies, it's the history of the club.
Yeah.
It's
the team as well. A lot of them are my close personal friends. I don't always get to see them every week. So once a week on a Sunday, whether we're playing a match or whether we're training, we meet up every Sunday. We kick balls together, and that's a good way of, you know, seeing each other every week. Meet some of my mates, like Deontay. He works 7 days a week. I work 7 days. The only days a week I see him is on a Sunday. And that's part of it. That's what I love.
So it's the same for a lot of you, or probably all of you, innit, as well. It's like, as you said, it's just a big family club, isn't it?
It's a big family club. Everyone in our team knows each other through someone. Or I don't really get ringers. I get a lot of people message the Instagram account. Oh, can we have a trial for you?
I can imagine.
Can we come and play for you? Can I send you my CV over? Oh, can I, you know, like, I play for this club. I'm a semi-professional footballer, but it's not for me. It's not really about it. I could get ringers in. I could change my team around and get some other players in and whatnot, and make it like that where I'm just trying to strictly win stuff. But it's not really about that for me.
It's the badge in it for you. Like, it is the badge.
It's the family club. The boys coming together, the supporters there, like everything about it. My dad's the chairman of the club. He comes every single week. He brings about 6 or 7 of his players. Like, I mean, who used to play with him, sort of thing, and just seeing them here on a Sunday, that's enough to get me going, you know, like. No,
I love that. Love that. What's kind of sort of leading on to the next thing I wanted to ask? What's the future for Kitchener? Are you kind of, all the boys you got at the moment, are you kind of happy with the group you got at the moment, or would you sort of, or is it kind of an every summer thing that you kind of look and think, well, he's getting on a little bit now, so I might need to think about getting somebody in to just
I always
slowly blend them in.
Wise, like, I'll look where I'm, like the last season I thought we were getting short on wings, so I looked at coming into this season, I looked at getting Jacob in.
You've definitely done well there.
Yeah, we lost Ethan for nearly a year through injury. Ethan's back now, so now we've got a variety of wingers again. I've signed on Ollie, he can play left wing or left back. So now I've got 3 or 4 wingers now. So then I'll look at other positions, I think, where else are we weak?
So you just sort of look at it every summer and just think,
well,
I've only got one bod there at the moment. I want 2 or 3 in that position. So we're going to need to look at that.
Like this season, we've been a bit short on strikers. Ace has took a couple of injuries now and again, and then I've had to play Jack up top or Lloyd up top. Whereas really, I needed another striker to compete with Asa to you know, like.
He's one I wanted to touch on, Asa, actually.
Yeah.
I've noticed, because I hadn't seen him for a few weeks, and I was actually going to ask where he was, and then he appeared, I just think he's like, even though he's been injured and he probably ain't played for a few weeks, he just comes in and it's like he's been there the whole time. It's like he wasn't even injured.
Yeah, he's an absolute animal, Ace. Ace loves playing for the team, loves to be involved in everything. He took I think it was one of the early games, he took a little bit of a knock. So with people taking knocks at the minute, I've just been saying to people, look, rather than coming into the team half injured, or we've got such a big squad at the minute, we've got no league games, everyone's fit, no one's playing Saturday.
People, is there?
Yeah, so this is my point at the minute. So I'm saying, if you have got a little knock, rest up, get yourself fit again, and then we'll talk about getting you back in the team, because I've got fit players on the sideline ready to go who can play in them positions, you know? So that's been a case with Ace. It's just been a case of that. He's just had a couple of weeks where he's rested, but Ace is good enough to come straight back into the team. Like when he did come back on the Wednesday, I put him straight back in the team because he brings something to centre forward position.
He's a presence.
He's a big lad as well. He must be 15, 16 stone. He's 6'2", something like that, and he's a unit. He's hard to get round. Like, even if certain styles of football we like to play, sometimes we like to get our striker to hold the ball and we play around him. And Ace is perfect for that.
He's ideal, isn't he?
Yeah. That's why I like Ace sitting up top, holding his weight into people, getting players around him. And not only that, he will go forward. He can run with the ball and he can hit a ball as well. I mean, he scored some wicked goals for us over the last 2 or 3 years.
He scores all types of goals, though. He gets scrappy goals.
Yeah. Headers. I mean, when we played SC Dons, I don't know if you see his overhead volley where he hit the bar.
Yes, I remember.
I mean,
that was the game with the 2 free kicks, wasn't it? That was the game with the 2 free kicks.
Yeah, it would have put us 3-1 up in that game, and I reckon that would have gone viral. He overhead volleyed that from outside the 18 box and hit the bar again, nearly beat Big G. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so
that takes some doing anyway.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, he's not afraid to express himself. He can play. He's a strong lad, and he's quality. Ace is one of my favourite players in the team, to be honest.
He's a good player.
The first 2 seasons, he was our top goal scorer. Then Seeks came in on the second or third season. He took.
I always forget about Seeks, to be honest, because he's kind of he's another one I like to watch, but he's not like Ace at all. He'll drop very deep and he'll link the play up, won't he?
He likes to hold the ball. He likes to. He's very skillful. He likes to 1-2 and go. He's not as quick as Ace in that sense, but his knowledge of the game is very good.
Very clever, isn't he? You can see that when you watch him play.
He knows where to hang about. He's good in the air. He's a good poacher. He'll sit around the edge of the 18 or whatever, make that slight run and just tap it in. Like I say, he scores all varieties of goals.
He was the one that had COVID, wasn't he? He got COVID, didn't he, at one point?
He did, yeah. That's what he had a bad case of COVID. He was out. This is what stopped him from coming into the team at the minute where he had his COVID. He was ill for a couple of months, and then he got really unfit with it. I think he got a bit down in the dumps and everything, but he's back in the team now. He played a couple of games, a couple of friendlies just before our big semi-finals.
I think I saw him. I saw him in the in-house. I'm sure he played in the in-house games that you had as well.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he was there. Yeah, he did. Yeah, he's still a very big part of the team, and like I say, he will. If we'd have had the league game on, we'd have had a lot more games to play. And
he'd be able to play himself back into fitness.
Yeah, I can get some boys of fitness in them games, but semi-finals and quarter-finals are not games.
You've got to come in. What you think's your best 11, you've got to start that in you, and that's no disrespect to him. But
yeah, my first 11, what I picked for the quarter-final, I literally said to the lads, I've gone with the fittest 11 at the minute because you're all unfit. So I didn't even pick the best quality team I thought. I said I've gone for the fittest team at the minute, just to get us going, because the last thing you want to do is run out of puff after 20, 30 minutes and lose a game because you're not fit, you know?
And the thing is, and that's forced on you having to pick your team like that, because you ain't got the league campaign. You've got no other way of picking it, really, have you?
Where we have, and not only that, we struggle to get friendlies. Unless we
no one wants to play you, do they?
No
really?
one wants to play us. They don't. I try and get there's a few semi-pro clubs on a Saturday play locally around Ipswich. You've got Ipswich Wanderers, Whitting, there's a few others, Coggleshaw, who are just outside of Ipswich and Colchester. And I try and get friendlies with some of them sort of teams, but they don't even want to play us because what can they gain from it? The only thing they can gain, they can beat us and everyone will be like, oh, you beat the Sunday team. And if they lose to us,
or you can get battered, and then it's even worse, isn't it?
Yeah. So it's a catch-22 for the bigger teams. They don't want to play us. And then the local teams, they mess with me back, oh, we don't fancy getting smashed 7-8-0 in I find it hard to find games. So a lot of the time, I play teams out of town. Like our last pre-season, a lot of it was in Essex because I was having to travel to Colchester to play Essex teams because they're the only ones. They're the only ones what are playing. A lot of the London teams do message me. A lot of them saying, some of the YouTube teams that have just been created and whatnot. Because when we first started doing YouTube teams, there weren't that many about. We were like the first.
Now you've got Takers and teams like that coming out. You've got Takers in Barnet, North London are there now. You've got a few others.
Liverpool Stars. You've got a load of them. A big patch of YouTube teams that have come out in the last couple of years from London, and we get a lot of messages from them that they want to play us. But when you're doing a pre-season game, it's easier for us to stay local. I don't mind playing them for YouTube and whatnot, the proper games when we organise them through the season. But when we've got a gap in between a season, the last thing we want to be doing is travelling to London to play a football match. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's got to be the right circumstances for you. It ain't like it's round the corner, is it?
Season before our league starts, I don't mind it. I'll travel to London. Like we travelled to to play SC Dons. Beatty's travelled to us. We owe them a game away this year, so we're going to travel to London to play them away this year. So we will do a bit of travelling come pre-season for the proper games. But sometimes we'll get like a 2-week gap in between league games and cup games where we still try to tick over and play local teams. Because it's not really beneficial to us to be travelling to London when the boys are already travelling on a Saturday anyway, you know?
As you said earlier, it's a lot of ag, especially for the Saturday boys, isn't it?
And I don't want to travel to London and play YouTube teams with a weak team. Not a weak team in the sense of where I've got 4 or 5 of my better players not in the squad, you know? Like, because I don't...
You want all your best players there, 100% fit, no excuses. Yeah, exactly, no, absolutely, mate. Well, I feel like I could talk to you about tactics and stuff and about all your players for a couple of hours, to be honest. No, I appreciate your time, mate.
No worries, mate.
Before we finish up, is there anything you wanted to add or anything that you wanted to finish up on?
Not really. I was going to say one thing. We've been contacted. I don't know if you've heard of the YouTube tournament going about in summer. We've been contacted by
I've heard little whispers, nothing concrete though, to be honest.
Well, I won't spoil it because I'm not really meant to talk much about it anyway, but we've signed up for it, so...
Nice.
There's 4 or 5 other big teams that have signed up for it. So
I won't ask you who it is because we'll save it for the surprise.
We'll save it, yeah, but that's going to be... And they were going to do it over a course of like 4 or 5 weeks, but they just emailed me last week and said that they're going to do all the knockout phases in one day now. So
nice. Love it.
They're going to be playing 3 or 4 of the big YouTube teams in one day. And then the winners obviously go on to the semi-final, which will be a different day, and the cup final will be a different day from that. But it's all official. It's all been booked. We've signed up for it. I know 4 or 5 of the other big teams that have signed up for it. So
that's going to be brilliant. All the cameramen will be fighting for room, won't
they? Yeah. There'll be loads of influencers there, I reckon. And I reckon even your boys will be down there probably on the day when it all gets ready. I
think they will, to be honest. I live in Portugal, so it all depends if I'm home in the UK, to be honest.
Oh, right. Yeah.
But if I'm back, mate, nothing will be keeping me away from coming to watch that.
Yeah,
that'll be brilliant.
That'll be a massive game. And the good thing about us is even though we're from Ipswich and we're a little town, we take a big support with us. So, you know, like on them games, we will have...
I remember for the Dons games, you took a few to the Dons game, and that was a good couple of years ago as well, and you took a few to that.
We had a couple of hundred there, I think, at least 200 there, I think, on the day. And I didn't even expect it. I organised the coach for the lads, and I think we got a couple of real, like, every week supporters on the bus with us. Yeah. And then when I got there, I just saw car after car turn up, and before you know it was like $200 there. I couldn't believe it.
They love that SE Dons, and they always speak highly of you guys as well. You always turn up. You're always like,
we've got a really good relationship with SE Dons. Like I don't look at other YouTube teams as a threat to us. I'd rather have a good relationship with other YouTube teams, because then when it comes to organising games and tournaments,
brilliant
and stuff like
to test yourself, isn't it? It seems like no needle, just turn up and play.
Yeah, you can turn up and play. The best team wins on the day. But with SC Dons, at the time they played us, they didn't really have to play us. We were an up and coming YouTube team, now making a name for ourselves. So they didn't. There was a lot of other teams they could have chose over us to play, and I think that was one of our highest viewed videos that was against SC Dons. So that boosted us a bit. Not only that, off the back of that, we got the kit locker deal, which was massive for us.
Brilliant.
As well. Yeah. And like when I spoke to Ollie, who runs Kit Locker, because I noticed that they lost Palmer's. I think Palmer's at the time were gonna pack it up, and
that's right.
Yeah, and they were sponsored by Kit Locker at the time, so I reached out to Kit Locker and said, look, we're an up and coming YouTube team, and the first thing he said to me was, Drew Don Strapsy, I think his name is Drew. He said, Drew's already told me all about you guys and what a good bunch of lads you are. So I've done my research on you, and he said yes straight away. So if it weren't for them putting a good word in for us, that might not have happened. You know.
That's really nice. That's really nice to hear.
It's good to have a good relationship with other teams, because it makes it easier when coming to organised games and that. You know, a lot of them London boys, they're more rivalries because they're local London teams, whereas we're outside the mix. They're not our rivals. They're just teams YouTube teams that we want to play. And that
exactly. It's a little bit different, isn't it? So, but it's exciting for you and the boys, isn't it, for the one-off games?
Like when we played Beatty's, a couple of the lads what know some of the SC Dons players got phone calls, and they were loving it. They love that we beat them, because that's sort of their rival, isn't it? Like, you know what I mean?
That's it.
To watch us beat them, they loved it. They called us up saying, "Yeah, congratulations on that, man. They deserved it. You deserve to beat them." And whatnot. So that was nice also. Do you know what I mean? But I don't look at playing Beatties and SE Dons and Palmers, I don't look at it and say, oh, that's a rival. That's a YouTube game for us. Obviously, we want to win every game we play. That's the standard we set for ourselves anyway. But win, lose or draw, we're just there to compete. So that's the main thing about us. Like, and hopefully, come up to this tournament, we'll do good in it, and we will prove that we are one of the top YouTube teams as well.
Mate, I am buzzing for that tournament now. You got me really excited already. I don't even know any of the details, and I'm excited now. No, that's great, mate. And I'm really excited to hear more about that tournament, to be honest. And I just want to wish you and the boys all the best for Sunday.
Yeah, I appreciate it as well, Rick. And I know it's all the support you lads like Urfreshtv give us all the time. Every time we try and give you, when we can, we give you a shout out. I know it's the hard work you lot have been putting in for the grassroots, everything from top to bottom. And I think you guys are doing a great job over there as well.
It's hard sometimes to spread it about because it's all over the country now. It's hard to spread it about, but we try.
It's got so popular now. You got teams from Manchester, Birmingham, and all over the country that are making YouTube teams that are becoming popular, you know. So, but I think before you know it, I think within the space of 3 or 4 years, there'll be a YouTube league.
I think there will be, to be honest. And I think there'll be money in it and stuff as well. Someone will put the money up for it.
The numbers, what a lot of the YouTube teams do. I mean, we do, on a good video, we do between 8 to 20,000 views on it. We put out 4 videos a month, you know, and some videos fluctuate. We get 80,000 views on them. We get, you know, we done that Pep Guardiola thing. We got 1.2 million views on it.
That was mad.
That's what I mean. SE Dons get probably 200,000-300,000 views minimum a week, don't they? So people do watch it. There's a big market.
There's a big market for that. There's a massive market.
I mean, it ain't going to be long before someone like Sky Sports or one of the bigger things sees what's going on here. And
someone will pick it up. Someone will pick it up because SE Dons have got 200,000. Have got over 200,000 subscribers on YouTube
that's what
now.
I mean. So it's
mad.
That's bigger than a lot of semi-professional.
They've got football league teams that don't even have subscribers at that amount, to be honest.
That's what I mean. It's crazy, isn't it? That's another thing. What we done, we looked at the Ipswich Town, because obviously our football club is Ipswich Town around here, and they do their YouTube and whatnot, and so we were comparing. We were getting more views than some of their videos.
That just shows you, though, doesn't it? Because I was saying this a while ago. I've said it to a few people. It's kind of like, because all the YouTube, if it's staff or it's the players or whoever, you're all like attainable. You're all like real people.
And so, for the youth as well, for the young kids watching it,
it's attainable heroes, isn't it?
Reachable, isn't it? You know what I mean? Exactly. You can join a Sunday team and play against those lads. Not even that, you can create your own Sunday team to do what you want to do.
Inspiring the next generation. Yeah. It's like
I've got a lad who I know who used to play for the Kitchener when I played. He called me up a couple of weeks ago and said, love what you guys are doing. I just wanted some advice. Like, we're going to start a Sunday league team. They're going to try basically get the best of the best from Ipswich to compete with us. And he said, like, what do you think about it? Like, would it be something that annoys you? I said, no. I said, we're well up for the competition. I said, if anything, if you're going to do the YouTube and all that, contact us and we'll come and help you set it up. We'll, you know, like, we encourage other people to do it. We'd rather do it, like, and help you out.
That's amazing for the scene where you are. Like, if you can get a YouTube scene where you are as well, not only you, that's brilliant.
Yeah. If everyone push and works together and you all help each other, it's going to be better in the long run for everyone. You know, like, there's no point. I ain't going to try and hold back another team locally that want to do something because we think we're the best YouTube team around here. I'd rather give all our resources to them, help them, and we all grow together, you know?
Yeah, no, that's amazing, mate. That's amazing.
And anytime we can help you boys out, we will do, mate. It's not a problem.
And vice versa, mate. Send all my regards over to the boys and all the best for Sunday.
Will do, mate.
And I'll speak to you soon, mate. Thank you so much, Lee.
Have a good one, mate. Cheers.